Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Brendan Rodgers wants double figures in the league. Gary Fraser apologises for moment of madness at Celtic. Austin McPhee says Michael O'Neill is not above Scotland. Yeah, it's just a few of the topics we'll be discussing on the programme tonight. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted that our bootroom guest tonight is from Kilmarnock. Gordon Greer joins us just to add a bit of solidity to the defence. We'll have a chat with Gordon about his personal football career and also Kilmarnock, who seem to be on the up. So there's lots to talk about. Let's have a look at the back page headlines from the morning papers. The Daily Record. I'm here for the gong haul. This is Marvin talking about his move to Celtic, and of course Brendan Rodgers very complimentary about his battlers who defeated Partick Thistle by 2-0 last night. And the Mail, it's a new start. Comper signs and Morgan to follow. Lewis Morgan set to sign for Celtic, with him of course staying with the St Mirren team until the end of the season. The Courier, and they're talking about Henry is staying put. This is of course Neil McCann talking about the link with Jack Henry possibly going to Celtic as well. Celtic going into that match, of course the Celtic fans got the chance to see Marvin Comper. They've signed him, 32-year-old, 2.5-year deal, cost Celtic apparently around about £1 million, but he's there to add a bit of solidity to the defence, and he admits freely that he's there to add his own experience. I
think it's obvious if you get a player that is 32 years old, you're looking for experience. This is what the club is getting: experience, quality in passing. I'd say in my header is fine, and I speak a lot on the pitch. I try to help the guys around me, and I think high defending is what I'm used to. So I think all these things I bring to the table, and this is what they saw in me, and this is why they contacted us.
Okay, here's a footballer who speaks 5 languages fluently, Ruffy, and he can defend as well. Wouldn't it make you sick?
Yeah, I'm just quite happy. He thinks he's got a lot of quality as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the Celtic supporters will be interested to see him. I don't know when we'll see him. You know, sometimes they take a wee while to settle. Obviously, the break's coming round, but he certainly looks a confident lad. Yeah.
Well, on that point, I mean, you've been to clubs before. How difficult is it to settle in? Yeah, at clubs that is all dependent on how good the players are around you, I suppose.
I think the language barrier can be a big thing for players coming from abroad, but obviously, as you said, he can speak 5 languages. He's probably speaking to all the players in the dressing room. But you know, I think he'll fit in well. He speaks the language very well, so there's no issues there. It's just how quickly he can settle off the park, really. I think the football takes care of itself. It'll just be how, if he's got family, how they settle, and if he's got a headache after training because his wife's not happy in Glasgow, or if he's got kids, it's just getting everybody settled and kicking on with the football.
Yeah, that's a great line you delivered there. Are you speaking from experience about that from your
Nothing. cut.
Yeah, absolutely. In case she's watching. You disappointed? I mean, is that one of those ones that Thistle think, okay, you know, you put that to bed, there's no great expectation?
No, I'm sure if you ask Alan, you know, what would they like to take out of the game, I think 2-0 is okay. You know, the manner they lost the goals, they're not as bad as some of the goals that they've been losing recently. So the big one is obviously Hamilton the weekend, and I think coming out of Parkhead with just 2-0, okay, it's not a big worry, but he'll know the defence will have to get better for the weekend. Yeah,
okay. Celtic now with that 5-point lead at the top of the Premiership, with Aberdeen on the horizon on Saturday. And of course, Brendan Rodgers, speaking today ahead of that game, is hoping that by the time they get to the new year, they'll have double figures advantage over their great rivals.
Well, I said to the players a number of weeks ago that if we can, sort of 3 targets really coming towards the by the 30th of December, if we could win the League Cup, if we could qualify for Europa League, and if we have double-figure advantage by the time we arrive, you know, out of the winter break, then we've had a brilliant season.
Okay, no pressure, Ruffy.
Nope. 2 big games as well to get maximum points. He obviously believes that the squad is good enough for particularly home games. And who's to argue with him? Every time he's predicted he's going to do something, they do it. And but it's up to the other 2 teams, particularly Aberdeen at the weekend, to show that they can still be a challenge.
Yeah, well, as ever, with the financial strength they have, Celtic will be looking possibly to add more new faces. Here's Brendan Rodgers on what type of movement will come in January.
As I said, I'm very happy with the squad, but you always have to look to strengthen it, really, and I think January's a good month for us to do that. So so Marvin's in, so that's great. He'll join us out there, and then hopefully we can have maybe 1 or 2 more at that point in time. If not, okay, January we'll look at it for the rest of the month and then see what we can do to strengthen the squad.
Try and get someone in, Gordon, before they go to Dubai for their break, so that they can work with the squad that he's going to go into the second half of the season with.
Yeah, I think these trips abroad, like pre-season and the winter break, it's great for the new players to get to know all their teammates, get to know how the manager works, how the staff work. And you really feel when you come back that you've settled in and then you can kick on from there.
Are you a fan of the winter break?
Yes, yeah, aye. I wouldn't have said this maybe 5 or 6 years ago, but as you get a bit older, it's really good to break up the season. You can have a bit of downtime and you can kick on again for the last part of the season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, Ruffy, who he signs in this January transfer window. It's rather ominous for everybody else that they can strengthen. I mean, there was talk about Jack Hendry, but Neil McCann today said he won't be going anywhere.
No, I don't think Neil McCann will want to lose anybody, particularly his good young players. But as we all know, if the money comes in and it's the money that they would expect to get from a young player, sometimes it goes through. But he's got to be positive for Dundee, particularly where they are in the league. But I'm like you, I'll be interested as well. Obviously, the Dembele talks died a wee bit. You know, it'll be interesting to see if that reappears. I'm sure it will. I'm sure there will be people out there would want to know what kind of price they can get him at, so it might be another striker.
And Van Dijk could move,
yes,
which again would bring them extra revenue. Okay, after the break we're going to talk to Gordon about his new manager at Kilmarnock. I'm talking of course about Steve Clarke. We'll talk about the team's performances and the game coming up at the weekend, which is going to be an absolute cracker. It's Kilmarnock against Rangers, and we'll get Gordon's thoughts on his old manager at Scotland. Join us after this quick break. Yeah, close there, Ruffy. What did you go for?
96.
96. You were well out of it. I think he was at Motherwell then.
Oh.
Yeah, because obviously he moved to Borussia Dortmund and won the Champions League in '97. So way out. No point in looking at you, Gordon. You just failed miserably in that one. Listen, talking about the total opposite of failure, things are looking good at Killie at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's picked up. We were sort of struggling around to get our win at home for starters on the AstroTurf pitch, and teams were coming. We're playing okay, but we just couldn't get the win, and we're doing quite well away from home. But since Steve Clarke's come in, we're a lot more solid, we're a lot more organised, and we've managed to pick up the results that we probably deserved near the start of the season.
Yeah, we've had Stephen O'Donnell on the show, and a number of other Killie players have said that he hasn't overcomplicated it, especially someone like yourself who's experienced, you've been around the block with other managers. I'd imagine it's difficult to see something fresh, something new. What has he done in your mind?
I think, in my opinion, he's really worked on the way we play on a Saturday. So in training, it's all geared towards a Saturday. so you're in your shape and you're working for your shape. It's not rocket science. We did do this under the previous manager, but under Steve Clarke, he's working it a lot more in training, and everything we do is based around the shape, and it's worked for us. So everybody knows where they should be at any point, whether you're playing or you're not playing, because you're working on it every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just little tweaks along the way here, Ruffy. Unbeaten in 3 wins and a draw.
Yep, that's what confidence breeds, wins. It keeps everybody, I keep saying, with a smile on their face. But I'm like you, I agree that it's a long time since Kilmarnock have played with relatively 2 strikers. It gives you obviously a better chance to score goals, and that's what's happening. We would see games with Kilmarnock and it'd be Boyd, it'd be up front, and all the pressure's on him to produce the goods. But now there's somebody else there chipping in, and it's always a good thing.
Yeah, and would you go back in your statement, Ruffy? I mean, you said if Kelly continue with Gordon at the back, they'll get relegated. Are you standing by that?
I don't think I have. You're just winding me up.
I've got to ask you about yourself, because you had Kelly before. And then you had to move down south. What's the difference between the Killie you were at before and now this one in our Scottish game?
I think when I first came back, I was expecting, it'd been like over 10 years maybe, and I was expecting things to have changed, but weirdly not a lot had changed.
Yeah, is that bad?
Aye, it was just strange. It was as if I'd never been away. So when I went back in, there was a lot of the same faces that were still at the club. Obviously the players have totally changed, apart from Chris Boyd, and Cammy Bell of course was there the first time round as well, but not a lot had changed. I think back then there was a wee bit more pressure on us to finish in the top 6, whereas my opinion when I first came in, it was like, right, we just need to stay up.
Yeah.
Which I found quite, we should be striving for, you should aim as high as you can, and if you fall a wee bit short, then you're still better than where you were. So I think Lee McCulloch in particular tried to get us in that mindset to push forward for better things, but we just couldn't seem to deliver, and the players, I felt like, really did let the manager down. But since Steve Clarke's came in, as I say, the players have responded well, and we've kicked on, and now we're looking forward instead of back.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about Rangers in a minute, because it's going to be an interesting tussle between the two of you. But of the managers that you've worked with, Steve Clarke aside, but is there anyone in particular that you thoroughly enjoyed?
When I look back on my career, I enjoyed the best was Gus Poyet. The way that we played, it suited the way that I wanted to play. He had people round about as it wanted the ball, so it was really good because you had options when you were on the ball. And he had a philosophy that he used to, again, every day. It was every day, you worked on it every day. So when you got to a game, it was just a matter of taking your training into the game, which worked really well for us.
Yeah, and with that in mind, you ended up with 11 international caps under Gordon Strachan. Were you surprised when they decided not to go with him again?
Very. I think reading the papers and hearing the media, there was a lot of pressure because we hadn't qualified, but I think you could see the change in the team from the start of the campaign to the end of the campaign. They were playing a lot better, and we let ourselves down at the start of the campaign, which basically the form in the latter part of the campaign was good, and I just felt like the lads loved the manager. They were wanting to play for him. There was people going away that weren't selected, like myself, that I used to love going away. It was great crack with the lads, good training, and he just had it was like a real team environment, rather than, I've heard these stories in the past where it was like certain groups would sit in that table, certain groups would sit in another, where everybody really mingled well, and I just felt it had a good vibe, and I thought if he had another crack at it, he would have got success with us. I'm sure of it.
I was going to say that I was interested in speaking to Gordon off air, but we always talk about the demands of strikers and midfielders, and Gordon's obviously saying now that managers are looking for certain kind of centre halves. You know, we used to be in the old, used to be just go and win the ball, make tackles, but you were telling us they're now looking at more aspects of the game from you, obviously modern day.
I think if you've got, like, going back to Gus Poyet, he wanted to pass, so it was great for myself. You know, I'm not physically the strongest centre-back or the quickest centre-back, but I know that I can get on the ball. I was brave to get on the ball and pass, and that was one of the things he looked for, so it was good for me. Whereas in another manager, they might just want you to go and head it and play high, and that might not be my game. So I think you've got people now that are trying to play a certain way, and they'll try and recruit. But obviously with Scotland, you can't just recruit players from abroad. You know, you've got they've got to be born in the country, or at least have a relative born in the country to select them. Yeah.
Were you one of those players who understood what Gordon Strachan was talking about with genetics?
I know. No, I mean, I think it was taken in the wrong context, but you know, you can see like some of our best players, like use Barry Banning as an example, technically one of the best players in the squad, but physically one of the weakest. But you know, it's not stopped Barry, and I think the press were on about like Messi and looking at different players like Eriksen and Modric, Xavi, and obviously they're playing in a team that control the game. They've got a lot of possession, and I think if we control more possession, it's not going to be a problem. But we gave up quite a lot of possession against some of the better nations.
Yeah. Okay. You might give up a wee bit of possession, not as much as you probably did with Scotland. And I'm talking about Saturday's game. Is there an air of confidence that Kilmarnock can take Rangers in this game?
I think there's confidence because we're on a good run of form, and I really truly believe that there's not much between Celtic apart, number 2 in the bottom of the league. I think there's a bit of quality in the likes of Aberdeen and Rangers that some of the lesser clubs haven't got. But as far as you know, we've went to Ibrox and we got a 1-1 draw. My whole time here, the last time, I think we had one result at Ibrox in maybe 20 odd games. So they're not as good as they once were, and we're at home on an AstroTurf pitch.
Yeah.
We train it every day. We should use that as an advantage, and we're looking forward to it. We think we've got a good chance.
Interestingly enough, you're talking about the AstroTurf pitch. We are adamant we're not big fans of it. Don't like it in the top flight. I can't imagine too many of the older players will be too happy, you know, and centre halves must be raging at it.
It's not great. It's not. I mean, my first time around at Kilmarnock, the pitch was great. I was surprised they lifted it because it was such a good pitch, but obviously for financial reasons they've decided to go with the AstroTurf pitch. But it's not great, but at the same time we need to use it to our advantage if we can. You know, I don't think especially as you get older, you should train on it every day, especially if you're playing on it on a Saturday. But the manager's been good with the senior players as well, so it takes a wee bit of getting used to, but you know, it's something we need to deal with.
Yeah, I can remember I used to think Rugby Park was a great pitch, roughy to see. The only thing towards the end is I think for some unknown reason they seemed to get the undersoil heating wrong, and people used to complain because the neighbours could hear it when it was, you know, when it was kicking in. Yeah,
but that was a must. They had to do that. I mean, that was the demands that were put on the club. But you're right, it was a great surface. It was a sand-based surface. The grass was just like modern day, the synthetic stuff, and it was always a good stadium to go and play in.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. After the break, we're going to hear from Austin McPhee, the Hearts assistant coach. He'll be talking about how they're going to try and plot the downfall of St Johnstone, which, of course, might be a different game plan from the one they adopted against Celtic. He's also going to give us a little insight into Michael O'Neill and what his thoughts are. We still wonder if the SFA have made any moves on making him the next Scotland manager. They've got permission to talk to him. Austin McPhee will talk to us about that, and we will also discuss St Johnstone, and we'll look at Gareth Bale trying to get fit for El Clasico. It's football from Scotland and beyond on our minds coming up after this break. Here's another little question to take you there. tell you, even Gordon Greer's getting right into this, by the way. I guess, and you were a year out there. You nearly nailed that. So close, yet so far. Interestingly enough, Gordon's opponents on Saturday at Rangers, Stuart Robertson's been talking about the fact that he feels as if Rangers' best hopes of bridging that financial gap between themselves and Celtic will come with European money. It's a kind of a double-edged sword, that line, Ruffy.
Yeah, well, I would tend to think that would have to be Champions League football. We saw the money that Celtic bring in at this moment in time. Obviously, I think Rangers will get into Europe, but it will be Europa. Don't think there's that much revenue. Obviously, the gates that they get for the games will be big, obviously, with the support packing out the stadium. But I think he's talking about Champions League, and I think we all don't really know how long that's going to be before Rangers get back in.
Yep, okay. Let's switch our attention to Hearts. Their assistant coach, Austin McPhee's been chatting today. Of course, it was a fabulous win. It almost galvanised the entire Premiership. Hearts 4-0 demolition of Celtic. Slightly different this time around. They've got to go to St Johnstone. Will it be a similar game plan? Not according to the coach.
In some games, of course, it should be a template that we can show the players and they can be reinforced that this works. But I think that in many games at Tynecastle, when Hearts are the dominant side with the ball, that this approach wouldn't work, because in order to press high up the pitch, you need two things. You need one, the opponent to always want to build from the back, which Brendan always wants to do, and two, you need to not have the ball.
Yeah, just a minor technicality on adopting that against St Johnstone. And again, maybe some people will take heart from the way they approach the game against Celtic, but you know, Hearts fans might be looking towards Hearts to try and take the game to St Johnstone this time around.
I think the way that Hearts have been playing this year, it's, you know, they rely heavily on Kyle Lafferty up front, and they go back to front quite a lot. So I was surprised the way they set up against Celtic, but credit to them, it worked perfectly. But as Austin said there, you know, they would need to give up the ball, and at Tynecastle I don't think the Hearts supporters would be happy going watching Hearts against St Johnstone and they're giving up the ball. So they'll need to adopt a different tact.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be interesting to see who comes out in top in that match. Of course, Tommy Wright has mentioned the fact that for him it's going to be a battle, and it would be a great achievement if St Johnstone could get top 6 this season, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think we all talk about budgets, and St Johnstone, more than anybody, has really punched above their weight. Top 6 nearly every year, pushing into top 4. It hasn't been the great middle part of the season for them, but I'm sure that result of the weekend would be something that will give everybody a lift, because they weren't playing particularly well until they got that. I think they surprised everybody at Ibrox, but they'll want to build on that as well, you know. So I think it'll be a really close game.
Yeah, but it's amazing that they've won 3 away games there, but they haven't won at home since September. It's not good home for them.
It's the same as Gordon was touching on. You've got to win your home games. Your home games is where your supporters are coming in and paying the money. They're the ones you've got to keep happy. And unfortunately, if you've not got that, then they tend to drift. But if you can get back on the rails at home, you know, I think it'll be a big crowd. Hearts will bring a big crowd to that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Austin McPhee is involved in the Northern Ireland squad. He's an assistant to Michael O'Neill. Of course, a lot has been made of the SFA's initial approach to Michael O'Neill, and then nothing. But just in case anybody's wondering whether Michael O'Neill is just a little hesitant on this, Austin McPhee says Michael won't think he's above the Scotland job.
I think that, you know, naturally he's now in a financial bracket which puts you in, links you with some jobs and not in others. You know, Brecon aren't going to come calling now because, you know, he's in a financial bracket due to the success that he's had. I think that you know, there are pros and cons in lots of different jobs, and I think that, you know, nobody would. If Alex Ferguson says that he's not above the Scotland job, I've not asked Michael that specifically, but I certainly wouldn't say that Michael.
I don't think, knowing Michael as I do, there's no way he would have any delusions of grandeur on this issue. He'll be honoured that Scotland are interested in him.
And I don't think it's about money either. You know, I think the big decision from me is and he's not come out and told anybody, is it international football or club? You know, because we all thought he could demand a club. You know, we don't know what division, but if there was one come calling, you know, everything he's done, I'm sure he would be taken for it. But if it is international, if he gets the buzz out of that, the meeting up at international games, bringing players in and taking whatever it is, Scotland or Ireland, to a final, that might be just what ticks his box. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Did you have a name, Gordon, that you thought or you'd have liked to have seen take the Scotland job?
I would have quite liked to have seen Gordon Strachan keep the job, but then when they decided to get rid of him, then I felt Mike O'Neill would be a good appointment. He's done well for Northern Ireland, but as Ruffy just said, his stock's high at the moment, so I'm sure he'll have his pick of a few jobs.
Yeah, okay. From the Scotland situation, there's quite a few games to look forward to at the weekend. You join us if you can, STV2 at 2 o'clock through till 6. We'll keep you right up to date with all the goals as they hit the back of the net in the Premiership, Championship, League One and League Two. Quite a few of the managers have been previewing the games that they're looking forward to. One of them, of course, is Motherwell boss Stephen Robinson. I think all the Fir Park fans are wondering what he's going to do in the January transfer window, and today he said he doesn't anticipate too much activity.
We're limited with what we can do. You know, obviously we're not going to go and spend 500 grand on people. As I say, the most we've spent on a player is 10 grand. You know, and the board will back me as much as they possibly can to get the right players in, and that's what we're doing. We're doing our due diligence. We're speaking to numerous people. You know, if I feel we need to bring 2 in, we'll bring 2 in. Also, you know, I'm looking to get another defender in as well, just to shore up our squad to go into the final push of the last 3 months of the season.
I can't wait to find out what striker he's going to get in there to replace Louis Moult, Ruffy.
Well, if he can dip into England again, and Louis Moult came for Wrexham, you know, I'm sure there'll be strikers down there that he'll have his eye in, and people that he'll know. And I'm sure there will be a striker there, but I don't think they'll be throwing that much cash about either. I think it'll just be players maybe getting added to the wage bill, because they have got 4 or 5 big players out just now. So I think it'll be the physio that'll be working overtime to try and get them back.
Yeah, well, just on that point alone, I mean, I'm looking Cadden, Hartley, Freer and Trevor Carson could all be back. What have you made of them this season?
I think they're very well organised. They work really hard, and I think they did rely heavily on Louis Moult's goals. We played them at the weekend, and again they were very organised, hard working, but we managed to get the goal, and then you know, they struggled to break us down.
Yeah, it was the scrappiest goal of all time. You'll take them every day of the week, won't you?
No, I know, he was Boyd was celebrating like he'd scored a 30-yarder, but it's a goal and that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course it's Motherwell against Dundee. Surprisingly, you know, we were looking at Motherwell earlier on in the season. They were up at the top end, Ruffy. That slide has started. I still don't see them being dragged into it.
But I think most of the teams, the Motherwells, the Kilmarnocks, the Partick Thistle, there is a slide somewhere in the season. You know, you can either have it at the beginning, or you can have it in the middle, or you can have it at the end. Personally, you don't want it at the end. You want a good start, and that's what Motherwell have done. They've given themselves a wee bit of leeway to have that sort of a slump that they're not in the danger area. I think Hamilton did it one year as well. They were sitting second, third, top of the league, but they could afford to go on a 1 win in 10 and still not be in the trouble. It's when you don't have you have the slump right at the beginning and you can't get yourself out of it, that's when the trouble starts.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned too, Ruffy, Gordon, I don't know, you'll have played most of the clubs now, but I've disregarded Kilmarnock as being involved in it, if only for the fact you've got a Brophy, you've got a Boyd there, you've got goals, you've got wingers who can create as well. I look at the other clubs, and if they don't have a partnership or somebody who can get that 10, 15 goals, I see the clubs below you, those 4 clubs battling it out. I mean, I'm sure you'd love it to be that case.
No, I know. I mean, it's so tight. You know, we found ourselves like in the last few weeks, sort of getting above the relegation zone and kicking on a wee bit, starting to look forward. But you know, we're only 6 points away from the bottom 2. So I think it's still so close. But yeah, and you look forward, and you're only maybe 4 or 5 points away from the top, 4th place. But I think you're right. Form's and confidence is so crucial in football now. And Boyd, he's obviously working hard and he's getting his goals, but Brophy's come in and he's done brilliant. He's scored his goals and he's looked a real threat, and we're just hoping that he can keep kicking on and keep wanting to score more goals.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, Ruffy. I can't believe he was allowed to leave Hamilton. He just never seemed to get his chance there. Suddenly, as Gordon mentioned, he's brimming with confidence.
Well, that's what happened when you're a bit part player. You know, you're sitting waiting on your chance, and then when you get your chance, the pressure's on you to perform right away. But if you're getting playing every week in, week out, you know, and you're scoring goals, your confidence is high, and that's when you get the benefit of that player.
OK, earlier on this week on the programme, we had Martin Canning having a blast at Ross County, and as ever, it's always good when the Ross County boss has a blast back. So we will hear from Owen Coyle of Ross County. We'll also look at that Falkirk Academy and the decisions just causing quite a bit of consternation across Scotland. Oh, Gordon Greer, you've just been murdered on this programme, by the way. Can't even get anything right. I mean, honestly, if that was Fergie, he'd be kicking the chair right now, Ruffy, but you nailed it, 1998.
Yeah, I think I'd read that he was 19 years of age, so my maths was quite good for a change.
Odson Edouard. Yeah. OK, well done to you. Let's again continue and switch our attention to this Rammy that continues. Always good to get a good punch up in a game of football, Gordon, but this one at the weekend, you take the moral high ground on it. Martin Canning certainly wasn't happy, had a blast at Ross County, and now Owen Coyle says that Martin Canning should maybe just concentrate on the conduct of his own players.
Martin's job is to look after the Hamilton players, so I think, you know, his comments should really regarding Hamilton and Scondras, nothing to do with Ross County. As I've mentioned here, you know, we'll take our accountability and responsibility for that, but don't get drawn up in he said, she said. We know as a club, we certainly we don't want to react in that manner, but we did show restraint when there was obviously provocation at the time. So we'll best live seeing that, and obviously Martin can look after his lad Scondras or whoever else got involved in throwing punches.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's still dragging on. I'm sure eventually the main culprits will be serving bans shortly, Ruffy.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it was unfortunate the referee, it was his first game, you know, he had a lot to deal with, you know, because it did go on for a wee bit, but a lot of it was pushing and shoving, but the boy did definitely a couple of swipes, but never connected, so he's the one that's got the punishment. I don't see anybody from the Ross County side, you know, causing problems in that stramash, but obviously managers like to stick up for their own team.
Yeah, absolutely, even if they're wrong. But you know, you can decide who's right, who's wrong in this one. Are you the type of player, Gordon, when there were punches being thrown, are you in the thick of it, or are you thinking, I'm going to just let them all sort it out, even my teammates?
It depends who's throwing the punches.
Yeah, a very good point, actually. There is a smart lads. Who to fight and when. It's a great. There is no need to come back to him on that, Ruffy. It's right on the mark. As far as Ross County are concerned, they're obviously got a tough match against Hibs at Easter Road, and as Owen Coyle rightly points out, they're on a poor run of form.
When we came in, we were coming off the back of 6 defeats in 7 games, and obviously you get the players lifted and everything else. And that's what we'll do again. We haven't been playing badly. I think within that, you know, you look even the last 3 games, going to Rangers certainly should have left with a point. We should have won the game here at home at Kilmarnock, and then obviously last week at Hamilton again. I mean, never mind drawing, should probably have won the game. So the margins are very fine. There's been some uncontrollables that went against us certainly last week in some of the refereeing decisions. That being said, we've got to make sure that even if that happens, we're still affecting the game by making sure, you know, that we're stopping them at one end and we're clinical at the other. And if we do that, it results in wins and lots of points, and that's what we'll look to do.
Yeah, just 1 win in 9, Ruffy.
I don't have any problem with his summary of the 3 games he spoke about. I saw these 3 games, obviously just the highlights of them, and he's right and everything he said. They should have taken something, but Dundee had been saying that as well, and I was agreeing with Neil McCann that he should have been taking something, and they proved, obviously, with the result we got at Partick Thistle, if they don't lose silly goals and they take the chances that they come along, they'll win games. But I think these teams are all much of a much, you know, and I think it depends on me, Hibs.
Yeah.
What kind of response Neil Lennon gets. You know, obviously Neil's apologised to his players for, again, maybe losing it a wee bit after the game, which I think is always a good thing for a manager to come clean. But I think the players really know the expectations, particularly at home games. So they'll be hoping that they can win this one.
Yeah. Again, the one thing that's to Ross County's benefit is Roy McGregor, their chairman, because usually when it hits January, Gordon, he brings out the chequebook.
No, obviously he's backed to managers, which is great if you're a manager, and Owen will obviously benefit for that in January. As Owen mentioned, it was such a tight game in our game, and we managed to sort of turn the screw in the second half. And you know, for 2-0 up, it was great for us getting a 2-2, but obviously they'll be really disappointed didn't hold on to the 3 points.
Here's another little story I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on before we finish the programme tonight. Of course, a lot has been made of Falkirk just deciding to axe the academy and the money they're ploughing into it. There's been, you know, quite a lot of people vociferous in their condemnation of it, Ruffy. Now the SFA have jumped in there and said they're going to have a match which will showcase some of the talent, and hopefully someone else will recruit these youngsters. But more than ever now, I can understand where Falkirk are coming from.
Yeah.
It's a business decision.
Yeah, I don't think for the way Falkirk run their club and the way they have done in the past with young players coming through and selling them on at a healthy profit, I don't think they've taken this decision lightly. You know, obviously, as you say, it's a financial thing. It was interesting the way they're going to try and operate it. They're going to try and tap into bigger clubs, players that don't make it at their clubs, you know, and try and identify them, you know, which a lot of clubs have done. But you know, I think Falkirk will still turn young players. They'll identify young players and they'll bring them through. I think it's because they've had such a bad start to the season. Where they're sitting, you know, they have to focus on the first team more than anything else.
Down south, clubs have a bit more money, but I still think the same logic applies. How many kids do you get that come out? I mean, Falkirk are relying, you need a Stephen Kingsley every, what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you said, there's more money down there, and they've got a better infrastructure for the players coming through for young ages. But they rely on players coming through as well, because as you say, it's so much money to get category A status and play alongside Arsenal, Man United and all that they do need to produce players, whether it's for the first team or what Chelsea and Arsenal have been doing recently, producing them and selling them on to lesser clubs, which I think Falkirk are looking at maybe doing, pinching players that have maybe had like a good education, maybe at a bigger club, and spotting them early and thinking, well, we could maybe give them match experience, and that might be the thing that kicks them on.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts, Ruffy, on January 29th. It's such a special day in the... Look at your face.
I know you always do this.
Well, I'm going to ask you, why do you think it's so important to Aberdeen fans?
January the 29th.
Last night they won the Super Cup.
Yes.
34 years ago. Why is January 29th so important to the Dons fans?
I haven't a clue.
Okay, that's what I like about you. Not even a guess, because that's the day they'll vote on Kingsford. So it's so crucial. There's no plan B. I mean, this is just make or break. I mean, they want the 20,000 seater stadium. They want to obviously get the training facilities. There'll be a museum in there. I hope they get it.
Well, I think they've done everything they can. You know, I think Stuart Millen has been up front with everybody, even the protesters. I think they've met them, they've tried to talk to them, they've tried to persuade them that this is a community involvement, and it will be. You know, there'll be a lot of jobs, obviously, away from the football, being attracted to it, and it's been going on so long now. I think if they were Aberdeen, you know, I think they'll be really deflated if this doesn't go through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a club like Aberdeen should have good training facilities as well, Gordon.
It's massive, I think, for the club. you know, as a town, you know, the football club's a massive part of the town. So, our city, should I say?
Yeah.
The football club's a massive part. So, I think the people should be getting behind the team, and this is another aspect that they need good facilities to develop their players and their young players as well.
Yeah, it's a big call from the city council. Let's hope it's all locked tight and they get the positive result out of that. Just a couple of things I want to get your thoughts on, Ruffy. First of all, a light-hearted one. The defender Matthias Jorgensen of Huddersfield has offered to buy every Huddersfield Town fan a drink on Saturday, those who travel to Southampton. Now, that's a good gesture. Could cost them about £8,000 if they all turn up and he buys them a drink. If he ever signs for Celtic, he could lose his house, his car and everything. You know.
The small print, it was a drink of water that he was buying them.
I mean, that is a great gesture. I love stories like that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, that I mean, I think people now are beginning to see that the supporters are the lifeblood of the club. You know, and if you can keep them on board, as Huddersfield have. I watched their home game the other day. That they're right behind the club. And obviously, as a player, you want to get them right behind you as well. Yeah, it's a 472-mile round trip to Southampton. I don't think he's going to be skint at the end of it, let me tell you. OK, one little bit of sad news. I think it could end, hopefully, I hope it ends happily, is Bobby Williamson is fighting against cancer. You know, I had great times, you know, as a reporter interviewing him. He never let you off lightly. If you asked a rotten question, you knew you were getting booted into left field. I want to, you know, beat the cancer. It'd be great to see Bobby back fighting fit and managing again. Yeah, there's no doubt. I read the article this morning. Sad to see it, you know, but he's a fighter. And you could tell by the article he's going to fight this, and I wouldn't be surprised if he beats it. Yeah, absolutely. His best line, don't come to football if you want to be entertained. You need to go to the movies for that. It doesn't get any better than that, especially with Star Wars out right now. I can see his point. Gordon, we wish you success for the rest of the season. I hope it all goes really well for you. Fingers crossed you'll come back on again, because I don't know if you're aware, Ruffy, we had him on one of our earliest shows. Do you remember that? Yes, we certainly did. Yeah, yes, absolutely. One Gordon Greer on the show, and look where we've ended up. Simple as that. Good luck to Kelly for the rest of the season, and of course from everyone in the football show. Good luck to Bobby Williamson as well. From Gordon Greer, from Alan Ruff and myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching. Good night.